Hello everyone, welcome to another session with me. I am Sanyukta Saxena and hope you are enjoying this series on Tangled Motifs, and today is yet another session where we'll be trying some new tangles, some new tangle ideas, motifs, some new shapes, right? So this is the last one that we drew. Hope you enjoyed it. And today again I'm going to play with some shape and then use some set of tangles to create beautiful motif, right? So let's get started right away. Again, I have the same A5 size sheet in front of me, have divided it into two halves just to ensure some broad symmetry, but not going totally by too much about, not too concerned about symmetry here. So let's get started, and I'm going to start with a nice V shape here, something like this. I'm again using my pencil, right? So going to then come down like this, two C shapes, right? And then probably give it a nice curve at the end. Yeah, so something like a rocket, I don't know, some nib or something, some shape. And then I'm going to extend this and give a nice curve and join it like this. And then again extend this, give a nice curve and join it like this, right? And then probably add an outline like this, right? So this is broadly what I'm going to do here, and probably I will extend this till here and then join it like this. So it looks somewhat like a flower or a lotus or something like that. Yeah. Let me first ink it, and it will be clear to you what is the shape that I'm going to play with today. Yeah. So I'm going to start with this inverted V shape here. You can draw along with me like this. Yeah. And then I'm going to bring it straight down like this. Right. And then I'm going to give a nice petal like shape here, right? So I'm going to extend this also and give it a nice curve, somewhat similar. Bring it down here, right? And join it like this and extend this to form a motif. Yeah, so it's about this height, so I'm going to ensure that much, right? So bring it down and join it here. So that's the shape that we are going to be working on today, right? I will just quickly get rid of the unwanted lines here. So once broad outline is ready, now let us move on to tangling, right? So whole lot of tangles that you can choose from. So let us first go with a square grid inside. I am drawing a square grid inside like this, and then make it into a square grid like this, right? And then I'm going to insert some orbs at each of the intersections wherever possible. Right, and then I'm going to insert the tangle Huggins, right? So going to start like this, So you can always hide a orb here. So you can always insert the tangle W2 also. This is the tangle pattern Huggins, right? So I drew a square grid, then I inserted an orb at each of the intersections, and then I am using the alternate and mirror technique to join these orbs, right? So these two are mirror images, right? And if you move this way, it is alternating lines, one up, one down. These two are mirror images, and you move like this, they are alternating, right? So again, move down like this, they are alternating. Right? So that's the tangle Huggins. Yeah, so we have inserted that tangle here, and then we have two sections, petal like sections. So I'm going to add a thin aura inside. So Huggins is a Zentangle original. I have released a video on how to draw the tangle Huggins. It is a technique based tangle, and it uses the technique of alternate and mirror, right? So this section I am going to be adding a tangle called Vega. Yeah, why? Because I want some drama factor here. Again, as I keep mentioning, it's good to have some drama tangles always. So this section I'm going to insert the tangle Vega. Right? Again, basically series of X's. So you first draw this first set of lines, double lines. And then you just cross it to form X. Like this. Yeah, and then we just ink the sections in between, or you can add some other thing, whatever you feel like. I intend to ink it because I like the drama that it adds. Yeah, so I'm just auraing the inside space, and then I'm going to ink it. So take your time and slowly aura each of the inside space that has been formed in between the crisscross. And then go back to them and ink them either completely or partially, or add some tangle if you don't wish to ink it, whatever way you want to do. Yeah, so let's start inking now. Again, you can switch your nibs to 08. So I am going to ink each of these sections that I created inside. Take your time and slowly ink these sections. You can also add a little uneven end. Looks more natural if the ends are not straight lines. Yeah. So I'm almost finishing with my inking here. Inking the small little subsections that I created inside the crisscross. And this tangle is called Vega. It is another Zentangle original. Right, so done with that. One more exercise that I'm going to do is convert these orbs into black pearls. So I'm inking them in, leaving a small highlight so that they look like pearls. Yeah. Small little things that you can do to add to the look of your tangle. Yeah. And then the last section that we have, again up to us, what do we want to do there. I'm going to add some big printums here, right, really big ones. So I have started anti-clockwise, started inserting spirals, and I'm going to add some really big ones here because they look little different compared to the smaller ones. I'm going to be drawing behind, so the second one that I started is pretty close to the first one that I finished, and I'm drawing behind here, the lines somewhat going under. So there are a whole lot of tangles that you can choose from. You can also add flux, you can add any other tangle of your choice. Please feel free. The main intention here is to experiment with different shapes, experiment different tangles, use tangles a little more innovatively to create beautiful motifs. Your choice of tangles I leave to you. You can choose any tangle that you feel like. So these are simple printum, just that they have more number of curls, so they look a little different. They look nice variation of the original, and there is a lot of drawing behind here, so you can always highlight those overlaps as far as printums is concerned. That's the fun part. Yeah, so you can see here, you can also embellish them by adding some puffs, some orbs in the outer layer if you feel like, right? So we'll see if we want to do that. This is a big one, small hidden one. So in this big one there is a scope to add some orbs. You can add it to all, you can add it to one or two, whichever way you feel like. Just enjoy the process, right? So some of you also asked me about those tan tiles that I posted in between before starting the series actually. No, I haven't recorded them. I was in the hospital that time, and those are the tiles that I drew during that time. So I can't do without tangling. That's my healer, stress buster, everything, right? So thank you if you like those styles, right? So insert, yeah. So that's how the printums look like if you roll it a little more. So I will do exactly the same exercise on the other petal. Roll it more, go on and on. Like this, yeah. So adding that small little embellishment I've done with drawing the printums on both the sides, and just adding some puffs in one of the auras of my printums, the bigger ones, more curls, right? So you can also add some Knightsbridge, anything that you feel like, yeah. So I think we are done with that. Now in these huggins, it is up to you. You want to either leave it, just shade it and leave it like that, or you can add small little things like fescue from both sides crossing each other, something like this. Entirely up to you, yeah. So small little things that you can do to add to the look of your tangle, but it is again up to you if you want to do it. There are a whole lot of other things that you can do, right? So insert some other tangle inside. So I don't want to complicate it too much, but adding small little bits, simple fescue coming from both sides. Yeah. So going with what I feel like at this point of time. Right, so small little things. That can add to the look of your tangle. Yeah, I think we are more or less done. We'll see if we missed somewhere, we can go back to it and do it. Yeah, right. So one last thing that I'm going to do now is add a tangle called Tammy Solo, right? Tammy Solo. I'll let you know who came up with this tangle, but this tangle is called Tammy Solo, yeah, and it's somewhat like going up like this, curling it up and then coming down, going up, curling up like a printum, something like this, and then coming down. Yeah, this is the tangle. I'll show you once more how I'm drawing it. Going up, giving a nice curl, and then coming down. Something like a part of basil that we draw. Right? So comes a nice border to our motif. Yeah. So I'll just continue drawing like this. Give a nice curl, go up, come back, give a nice curl, come down, go up, come down, give a nice curl, then connect to the bottom. Yeah, so that's the tangle. Right, so I'm done with drawing that tangle, and I'm just going to insert some small bronze chairs or orbs in between before I close my tangling. Like this. Just adding an orb and filling it in, but not filling it completely. Yeah. Yeah, we are done. So let us now move on to shading. So as far as shading is concerned, you can either go into shading the Huggins, each and every Huggins, right, which I don't think is a bad idea, because Huggins gets its get up only when you shade it in the overlaps. Otherwise you can't really make out what the tangle is. Only when you highlight its overlaps does it pop up, right? So as far as Huggins is concerned, I will stick to that. I will add graphite on the overlaps. Right, so I have done that, and then we'll blend it. Yeah, as far as the printum, you can highlight the overlaps here also, or you can shade it as a whole. So as far as this section is concerned, I'm going to shade it as a whole. So adding graphite on the edges to give that pillow effect. Yeah, and then comes Vega, again the ends, no need to add on the inked sections, as it is graphite is going to reflect it. Always a good idea to highlight the intersections. Yeah, so let's blend first, and then we'll see if we want to add something else. Yeah, blending the other side. Make sure you don't add graphite in the center and leave it white, right? Then carefully blending the Huggins. So I want to highlight the overlaps. That's what gives Huggins its true character, right? The woven feel. That's only when you highlight its folds, its weaving, right? So that's why I added graphite at the intersections. Right? So that's about Huggins, and then we will move to our Vega. So blend, but don't blend too much. Lot of inking here already, so you don't want entire thing gray. So at times you have to use your Totlon smartly. Yeah. So again, blending the ends without blending too much, making sure that there are discrete white sections, right? And then you can always add one outer line, which will just add little shade to your Tamisolo. Right, so just a light touch without blending too much. Yeah. And now is the time for chalk. So the white section in between you can always highlight with your chalk. Right? Use a different blender, soften the chalk. And you can also highlight your Vega in the center. Right? So just add some chalk in the center, soften it. Not too much, just a touch. Yeah, and we are done, right? So that's our motif for today. If you want, you can again close by adding one more very thin line of aura. Right? So I'm going to close it here, add my name, right? And I'll see you again with another new session. Till then, have a good time. And the names of the tangles is Vega. This is Vega. This is Huggins. These are Zentangle originals. Huggins. This is Printums, right? And this is a tangle called Tamisolo, which I already mentioned here, right? Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you again. Bye bye.